All Things Motoring International is owned and brought to you by SA's most trusted online vehicle platform, CHANGECARS. Our name says it all. Whether you're looking to sell, need advice, need finance, or need insurance, CHANGECARS has you covered. Coming up this week on All Things Motoring, Ernest savours a Merc for the ages with a retro review, and we wrap up with the Festival of Motoring in Johannesburg. This is a show not to be missed.
Okay, let's try that again. Sport mode, downshift again. Bang, on the power. Sorry, Michael, this is happening. It's one of the most iconic car shapes ever designed. It boasts technology that is commonplace even today. This is the W124 Mercedes-Benz, and you're watching Retro Review. Oh, I am excited for this one because my actual neighbor had this car, and I remember when they took delivery, it was modern, mind-blowing, and iconic. This is what a car looks like to anybody that's grown up in the 80s. And let's start in the front here because this one has the clear lenses, which means it's the facelift. It's also got the iconic manhole cover wheels, which became the staple of most of the Mercs of the era. Very recognizable, and there's so many recognizable parts on this car too. Rearview mirrors aren't usually a highlight, but these were big at the time. And what's interesting is that the other side is a different size. Of course, there are going to be chrome details on a car in this era. And don't forget the planks on the side, as they were called, which will help you distinguish between the various models as they changed over the years. More updates on this model because of the different lenses at the back. And the big change was the fact that the letter E came first and not after like the previous generations. Oh, such a big deal, you say. But at the time, it really was. Of course, a gigantic boot came standard back in those days, but what didn't come standard was a 10-disc CD shuttle in the back as well. This one over here is added to our collection, and it is absolutely mint with exceptionally low mileage. Let's take a look inside. We got to keep this in context because this car was a technology festival when it was first released. Let's start on the right-hand side here. You've got the light switch with park lights, and it's got a fog light as well. And below that is the handbrake release because this handbrake works with a pedal. The dashboard on here is typical Mercedes-Benz, but timeless because it's very similar to what Merc is using these days, even when it's digital. This over here, of course, is the steering wheel, and weirdly enough, it feels like the left side is closer towards you. I'm not sure if this is a Mercedes-Benz thing of the era or just something with this car, but we'd love to hear from you guys what your thoughts are. Speaking of steering wheel, this one has an airbag on the driver and passenger side. Even very recently, there were cars that were sold with only one airbag. A phenomenal invention and something that paved the way for cars of the future. This one, if I can get the finicky key working, has the single wiper blade that moves up and down. A very cool feature at the time, and again, another invention that was maybe copied by other manufacturers after. That brings us to the center console with the wood grain interior. Takes me back to those 80s days. Then of course you've got a whole bunch of features here that are just unusual. Rear demister. You can fold the headrest down from in front here. You can switch the back light on from in front, and of course electric windows, power steering, air conditioning, all the latest features, and a Becker Le Mans sound system that still works to this day. And I can hear the aerial popping in and out of the back as well. We'll finish it off with a fully adjustable seat, a lockable compartment over here, adjustable armrest, light switches. It just goes on. And then there's this little shade over here. But I gotta point out that this car is probably one of the best examples I've seen recently. The body is pin straight, low mileage. Let's go drive it. Remember I told you this key was finicky? Anybody that's ever owned this car with an alarm immobilizer knows that there's a system that you need to adhere to. Other systems include the seatbelt warning light on top here, and we're off. Okay, I've actually got other mats in here so that I don't dirty this car. It's that pristine, people. And immediately you notice that this is a smooth car. You see, back in the old days, Mercedes was known for making comfortable cars. BMW made cars that handled well, and Audi made cars that gripped a lot. And never the three shall meet. But these days, though, those lines have been blurred. But before those lines were blurred, Mercedes-Benz made some of the most comfortable cars known to man. One of the complaints that I often level at modern cars is that they're just not comfortable enough. There's too much of a focus on handling, and this is coming from me, someone that loves good handling cars. But sometimes you don't need a car that handles well. Sometimes you need a car that's supremely comfortable. And today is one of those days, and I've got just the car for the job. Now, that's not to say that Mercedes-Benz don't handle well. I mean, this one here, if in an emergency, you would be able to swerve in and out of trouble in no time at all. It was also an exceptionally safe car. And again, as I mentioned, these two airbags over here prove that point. The steering is very responsive at center, even though it's quite light. There's not a lot of delay when working the steering, and I would imagine that tech and development that went into this car was just on another level at a time where maybe not this much effort went into building a car. Mercedes-Benz threw all the effort at building what they knew would be a bestseller for them in that decade. I've got my arm on the armrest over here, which also was one of those things that certain cars just didn't come with, but this one did. Looking up ahead, you see the three-pointed star atop the bonnet over there, and you kind of know that you're driving something with a sense of occasion. You're driving a Mercedes-Benz, and it smells like a 1980s and 90s Mercedes-Benz when you step inside here, that's for sure. The only defect that I can find on the sub 100,000 kilometer car is the roof over here that's hanging a little bit. But I'm sure Michael and the guys in Joburg will fix that once the car gets to their side of the world. For now, I'll be enjoying the wood grain interior, the smell of leather. Oh man, this is nice. I can live with this. Now, if you remember these cars, you'll remember the Ackerman angle that these wheels were capable of. And car enthusiast kids like me would often ask our cousins, brothers and fathers, what does that mean? Why is that wheel tilted that way? Well, that means you get an incredible amount of turning ability when trying to make a U-turn like that. And also the caster, I'm sure, was designed to make this car comfortable and easy to drive. Okay, let's try that again. Sport mode, downshift again. Bang, on the power. Sorry, Michael, this is happening. Up a gear. This is fast, eh? This is properly fast. This is a properly fast car. It's of course from a time where cruising on the Autobahn was normal. And this is not a slow car. This is a decently quick car. And if you needed to cruise at high speed on the highway, you could do it. But where it really shines is this type of driving. One hand on the wheel. I never told you that. The other hand resting on your leg and on the armrest, and just maybe holding your lady's hand while taking a leisurely Sunday cruise to the winelands. You've got height adjustable seatbelts over here, and I wasn't sure what this button was, but that is the electrically adjustable rear view mirror, people. Electrically adjustable rear view mirrors in a car this old. Oh, wow. This is like taking a step back in time, but into the future at the same time. Back to the future, maybe? Oh, this is a lovely car to drive. This is a lovely, smooth car to drive. And one of the things that I find non-negotiable on a car is, number one, the steering wheel needs to be straight. Number two, I don't like any vibration on any car. It doesn't matter how old or new it is. If something's vibrating, there's something wrong. And this car has got no vibrations, no wobbles. The steering is dead straight. The body feels dead straight. It's the kind of car that you can give to your parents, your siblings, to me, and they would, and I can, enjoy it equally. The W124 has been a trip down memory lane for me and for many of you, I'm sure. It is still as good as Mercedes-Benz said it was back then. And even by modern standards, it's not bad and still tech-loaded. It is the car that paved the way for many that came after it. And for that, the W124 deserves our respect.
Stay tuned. After the break, we get into more fun and action at the Festival of Motoring.
50 rope after the spray. Whoa! We're off. Are you going to drink it tonight, Charlie? So, anyway, so you know they're doing.
Are you looking to sell? Visit Change Cars and click on the Selling tab.
So we're about to do something special and I'm super excited. I'm going to give you a clue of where we are. Nikki, you organize a special challenge for us event.
Yeah.
What are we about to do?
So we're basically going to take one of the Ford Ranger Raptors on the off-roading course.
4x4?
4x4. Halves and 4x4 only. So we're going to take that car for the quick course, see how its capabilities, but let's give the audience what they would like to see. Yes.
Nikki, thanks for organizing it. Super excited. Let's
100%.
get in. Today we're only going to get one chance to go on the off-road circuit at the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. We're being driven by Gideon. We're pronouncing it correctly. There's no N missing. Unique name, Gideon. Thanks for taking us around. Tell us a little bit about this beautiful machine.
Yeah, so you're right, quite fortunate being in the V6 petrol Ranger Raptor.
Not underpowered by any means.
No, definitely not. What's that old saying? Great power comes great responsibility.
Correct.
And you definitely have to make sure you do it right with this one. But yeah, we're going to take you around the 4x4 track, highlight a couple of features on the vehicle. We have a packed show here. I think they were talking about 24,000 tickets sold for today.
I think
So
they
we're
were
gonna-
lying. I think it's more.
We'll jump in the queue here and yeah, take you around, show you a couple of things on the vehicle. There's some really nice new stuff on the next generation vehicles that makes off-road, I think, just the experience so much better. But yeah, let's do it.
So on screen right now, one of the things that Gideon is showing us is that the tire pressures have been dropped to 1.7 bar from your typical on-road range of anywhere from 2.4 to 2.8. One of the things that I think a lot of people are not aware of, when you drop the tire pressures, you're increasing the surface area. But in which way are you increasing the surface area? Let's see how knowledgeable our instructor is.
I read the manual last night and I watched 2 YouTube videos about it.
I like.
Basically, if you take a average tire, you're at normal inflation, your contact surface with the road is about the size of your hand palm.
Correct.
When you deflate a tire and you look at it, it looks wider from the side. It looks like there's a bulge in it. Yes, that is visually correct. So you're actually lengthening your footprint, and that's where the benefit comes from, your flotation benefit. It comes in the lengthening of that footprint. So now you're taking your 2.3, 2.5 ton vehicle and you're just spreading the surface over a bigger area, so you're not sinking as much. Also, what's nice is your heads-up display on the Raptor is customizable, so you can see there I've got a pitch and roll angle. We're now 23 degrees. I can see my steering angle is at 0 or straight forward. There's a bit of a decline. I've got a 0 minus 2 degrees downhill slope. As we drive along, you'll see that the pitch or the roll is increasing a little. I think this track goes to about 26 degrees before we slope to the other side. As they say, what goes up must come down again.
And the reason I don't exercise is because what goes down must come up.
So we're going to traverse this, and then now we're sloping to the left, and then we'll slope to the right. Steering angle, you can see it, that steering angle point is nice, especially in sand. Sometimes you've done a full rotation on the steering wheel, but you're not sure, then you can always just check forward, make sure you're on 0 degrees again. Now we've changed our angle, and now we're sloping 21 degrees to the other side.
But I must say, this car feels incredibly composed. At no stage do you feel like you're even close to the limit. I mean, you indicated about 38 degrees. Would there be a massive difference in feeling between 26 and 32?
Yeah, it gets uncomfortable. It gets very uncomfortable. Once you go over 30 on a side slope, it's not lekker. Okay, so guys, we now on the downhill slope. This slope declines to, call it 44 degrees. It gives you 1 meter forward, 1 meter down. So I've got trail control still activated. I'm going to do this as slow as unhumanly possible. My heads-up display is 34, 35, I'll call it out, but we're literally inching it down the hill. You can have a full extend on your safety belt.
That's what's holding me right now.
That's what's holding you in place at the back there.
No hands, the safety belt's holding us. This is what they call the inertia real seatbelt.
And there we are, 44 degrees downhill, and I let go of the brakes completely, and trail control ease me into the slope. Literally no feet on the brakes.
Absolutely incredible. And this is a vehicle that weighs in excess of 2 tons.
Yeah, I think it's 2.4 tons. That's a lot of momentum to hold back.
But it has the engine to support it, so there's that.
Gideon, that was an exceptional experience from the team at All Things Motoring, Nikki, myself, and the newest and youngest member of the team, Jaden. How was that, guys?
Amazing.
Stay tuned. After the break, we get into more fun and action at the Festival of Motoring. Looking for finance and insurance? Visit Change Cars and click on the Financial Products tab.
It's well known that I'm an Audi fan, I'm an Audi admirer, and I'm an Audi lover. But if there's one BMW that could rival Audi for me, it's what is behind me. 1977 to 1979, BMW E12 530, 6-cylinder. Let me tell you how magnificent this car was. You got a BMW 525, then you got a BMW 528i, and then you got the 530. Now you heard me say 528i. In the 528i, they had fuel injection, but for the 530, they decided fuel injection was not needed. We were still going for carbs. If you could get your hands on one of these, they would be worth, I don't even know what they'd be worth. Behind me, the vehicle in question, raced by Eddie Kaizen and Ian Schechter, two absolute legends of motorsport in South Africa and an absolute legend of a car. So on my right is a dashingly handsome Sabua, but that is not his strongest characteristic. Hey, don't be shy, live it. But his strongest characteristic is his work ethic. A day like today, what has happened for you?
Had a long day, Mark. You can see that the sun's going down
Course.
right now. But you know what? For me, the most interesting thing is seeing the simplest of cars taking on the track. Interesting.
Are you talking like about the Porsche GT3s, Nissan GTRs?
Simple. I mean, we're expecting that on the track every day. But when you see something like a Cherry out there on track, performing like that, handling like that, you're always finding yourself in a situation where
We're talking about Cherry. There's one Cherry, and it's a little bit higher than the Cherry. What is it that's caught your eye?
The Omoda C9.
Yeah.
I think we have to look out for that car. I don't know what they're cooking there, but they're really cooking hard. For me, that's probably the most impressive product, right?
Incredible respect for the Cherry brand. It came to South Africa in 2019. Bit of an unknown. It had been here before, and we call a spade a spade. It didn't have the greatest first entry into the market in 2013. Now they brought out their luxury version, the 2023 Omoda. When you see an Omoda in the flesh, it takes everything that's good about a Cherry and it just takes it to the next level. So two things. You need to ask me how I'm spending my night.
How are you spending your night?
I'm going to go home. I am broken after a whole day here in the sun, walking around, absolutely broken. But Sabua, it's been amazing having you here today.
So much.
The first of many, we hope, and wishing you the very best.
We're at the side of the pit lane and I'm dying to speak to some people. We're seeing massive smiles, amazing reactions. Let's go down and grab someone. Mandla, what car did you just take a drive in? It was so fast I literally didn't even see it.
That was a Jaguar F-Type. It was stunning.
Is this your first festival of motoring?
No, I think it's my third one.
Ah,
But
so you
always
were
obviously
seasoned.
the hot laps with the professional drivers.
Right.
It's really mind-boggling the way that they actually go around the curves
Absolutely
and
crazy.
push the cars to the limit. So really
100%.
fascinating.
I'm standing with Zander here who just got off a BMW M4 GTS. Zander, how was it?
It was really fun. I must say it was an experience to drive this car, and it's absolutely a machine, you know. It's
Definitely.
It's aggressive, tight around the corners. Yeah, it's very nice, very nice.
Kevin Christie, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I see you all smiles. You just had a really hot
It was
lap.
an amazing experience. Even though I'm too small, the seatbelt couldn't hold me. I was moving a lot in the seat, but I loved it.
Is it? And what was the highlight of your day so far?
So far, I think the food.
Oh, really? Okay.
I
So the
enjoyed the
GT3 IS couldn't do it for her. So she's coming next year for a party. That's for sure.
Definitely.
That's it for now. Coming up next week on All Things Motoring International, Michael experiences the Italian vibrance of the Alpha Club at the Modderfontein Sculpture Park, where all the Italian flair was on display. This is a vibrant and passionate show not to be missed.
How do I put in again?
Or just drive in the middle.
Done. That wasn't difficult. So what are we doing? 75-degree angles up and down, or a little bit less?
Yeah, a couple of loops, flights through the air, you know, take off speeds.
All Things Motoring International was brought to you by SA's most trusted online vehicle platform, CHANGECARS. Our name says it all. There is no safer online vehicle platform. That's not an opinion, that's a fact.